welcome all of you to our session 3 of Triple S with Dr. Poorani, that is sharing success stories with Dr. Poorani. And today we have an amazing person with us. It is Mr. Shanavas, who is a site leader at Maersk Line Global Logistics Operation, and he has about 18 years of focused experience in handling a lot of B2B and B2C businesses in outsourcing capital space. And he is currently you know uh, the site leader and motivated most important and involved assignments of operations with respect to shared with respect to a lot of handling complete mainstream business to key clients. So we have a beautiful session waiting for us called Ocean of Opportunities today. So in this field, which is very, very, very new to all of us, you know, we all have heard about doctors, engineers, and many other fields, but this is a very new field called freight and logistics and things, which is very new to us. So let us all, keep our ears open and start listening to Mr. Shanavas. And over to Mr. Shanavas. Just, Shanavas, before we start, we are very happy to have you here. And just give us a little bit of intro about yourself on how you came into this very niche field and how you are able to really succeed and shine like this.
Yeah, Ms. Purni, first of all, it's a pleasure always being part of your programs. It's quite interesting, and the reach which you bring into this all this aspiring people. It's fantastic. So thanks for having me here. So for everyone, I'm widely known as Shan, and I think 20 years back, I was also one of a student who was sort of trying to discover my way out as to what I should do really in life. Because what has happened is when I actually compare to what I do today, and if I reflect back 20 years ago, uh, I feel that during those days we hardly had cell phones. Basically, there was no WhatsApp, there was no Facebook, there was no Google actually. So it was quite difficult. So the only piece of information anybody would know is through the word of mouth of somebody else. So accessing information was quite horrible, and that's I think that's the difference these 2 decades have made in all to our life. So about me, I did my commerce education basic commerce education, and then I did my HR in masters. Basically, I'm not a HR guy, but I always had this interest towards knowing what is the people side of knowledge and expertise and education one should have, because whether it's job or personal life or anything, it's all got to do with the people. The technology will have its own limitations. It's end of the day, it's the people which drives the technology. I'm always a firm believer of that. uh, After finishing my college, there was a buzz 20 years ago. Call centers came into India, and but the only qualifying criteria was you need to be speaking fabulous English. So honestly, I was not a good communicator at all,
That is the
because
same
one
criteria
of the
till now.
reasons is I never thought that. Yeah, even till now, correct. But it was even more reversed, because what happens is hardly out of 1 out of 1,000 used to speak a fair English where they can convey, and other person could understand them. So so what has happened is so I made up my mind. Hey, uh, call center is something I will pursue, but I tried really hard. I did not get the job because they say, hey, you just cannot communicate. Your communication skills is very poor. So some HR said you shouldn't even try in this industry. You should look for some other industry. Then I joined Elixir Web Solutions. It is part of Global Consulting Services, which was in '99. I was part of the first, I think, 16 member team when Naukri.com was introduced in the market. Uh, and that time, so I joined as a sales. They trained me on selling their website. and services. This was in 99. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not have any computer at home. So it was always like this. Anybody who used to have an air condition and a computer are the rich people those days. So I did not have a computer. So when I used to go to the HRs and say, hey, this is online, HR used to laugh because they used to write the details of the candidates, home telephone numbers in a ledger, in a book. So they say, who is going to buy your solution? Nobody has computer at home, so who will access your website? How would an employee upload the resume? So I used to think in that way, hey, this is true. What they're saying is absolutely true. Am I selling the wrong thing? So that was my thought process. Am I selling the wrong thing? And then life went on. 2 years we spent. There were some education institutions, and but my will to join in the call center remained because I said, how is that I couldn't crack this job? So finally, I joined this company called America Online. It's based out of Bangalore. So in 2002, I moved there. Uh, and when I moved there, the Bangalore always had this silver lining of people having better communication skills, better dress code. It was always had that cosmopolitan charm. People used to admire Bangalore for climate, the people, they are very pleasing and all that. So I found it really difficult because number one, I did not have a career guidance. Nobody could tell me, hey, Sean, this is what you need to do. This is the right career for you. And second thing, I was like a musician who performs in an orchestra and keeps searching for notes in between. You just cannot do that, right? So I joined this call center in 2002. And after that, I wanted to share one interesting story, but because this is very relevant to anybody who is doing the education today at the same time, who has a belief that they can always do better in their life. I think the one and far most important thing is the confidence levels have always been low in my life during my initial days after I graduated out of the college. One, I always believe people who communicate in great English are the ones who stands a better chance, and the ones who just cannot articulate themselves, who are just not outspoken, they they are not even part of the competition. So I joined this call centers, and I was part of a team. We had a team leader. Uh, so our performance was gauged based on the communication skills, what we do with the customers in resolving their problems. And fortunately, out of that batch of, I think if I remember, a batch of 14, I am the one from Chennai. And then there was one guy from tier 2 city. I don't remember the name of the tier 2 city, just imagine. He was very, very lucky because he knew somebody from HR, so he got the job there. And his communication skills were even, absolutely pathetic than me. Then I thought, okay, fine. I thought I am the very low performer. Now I have somebody who I can, fall upon. So this is when it started. I started with my career, call center career, and then it went on. 2 years went on. It was a very hectic job, night shifts. We start at night, we sleep in the day. It was completely upside down. And then I realized that I thought, okay, fine. This is the industry I will pursue on. Because until that point, now, if you actually carefully notice what has happened is, I started my career because that's the option which was available to me. Somebody picked me up in the call center job, and I started believing that, oh, okay, fine, this is the industry I started, so I just need to follow this industry. I need to see what's in it for me. And I started with that. And then off late, I realized this guy, his name was Prashant. I still remember the name. He vanished for, I think, 6 months. He vanished for 6 months. He quit the job. I thought, like, okay, fine, because of his communication skills, it was very embarrassing for him. He cannot communicate. He could not carry himself well. So he dropped off. And then after a year and a half, I bumped into him. Remember, there was no Facebook, there was no WhatsApp. The only thing I had with me was an Airtel cell phone number. And if we have to communicate, we do text message. There is no
Yeah.
internet that time. So it was very hard, right? So this guy bumped into me after 1.5 year in some shopping place, and the guy who used to speak to me in local Tamil language, he communicated with me in English. Hey man, how are you? Are you still with America Online? I said, yeah. Hey man, you look very different. You appear very different. I mean, your communication skills. Oh yeah, yeah. I really, I upgraded myself. This is the word he used in 2000, I think 2003. I upgraded myself. I said, what did you do? He said, listen, without communication you cannot survive. Okay, so I learned that very hard way. I quit my job because I was not performing well. I used to get very negative feedbacks, and then I realized at some point of time that whether it's call center, insurance, banking, healthcare, whatever you name it, your only mode of appearance is your communication, whether it's your body language or your voice language or your written skills, right? He adopted one practice. I wanted to share this today because the reason is I couldn't believe that this guy could do this. This was 18 years back. He bought one, you know that 80 pages unruled,
Notebook.
blank notebooks which is available
Yes.
80 pages. He bought that. Yeah, he bought that notebook. He committed to himself. He said, I will learn one word per day, one English word per day, and then I will apply that word in at least 3 sentences. Okay. First, what he did is self check. What is my vocabulary? How many words do I know? He wrote all the words in that. And then he wrote some 15, 16 words. He realized that his vocabulary is only 16 words. That was 18 years ago. Okay. Then he realized in 16 words, you can't even do anything, right? You can't do anything. So he started developing. Then he came to a level where he could learn 220 words. Okay, in just a matter of 3 months, he could use 220 words. And over a period of time, without his knowledge, he started using a very precise word in his sentence. It's called word power. Today, we know that art of using vocabularies as word power, using the right word, which actually solves the purpose of your communication. So, this concept he introduced 18 years ago. Nobody taught him. The circumstances pushed him to adapt to this kind of a method. He said, if I would have said this, in 2002 or 2003, people would have laughed at me. Hey, Joker, don't do all these nonsense things. Go and join some English speaking institute. Probably they will, But if I want the viewers to realize one thing, the importance of self learning, right? So in this specific example, this gentleman, he invested his interest, number one. Number two, he did his self learning. Remember, there was no Google those days, right? There was absolutely no Googles those days. And then today, he's one of the sitting directors of Bank of America. He's in
Wow.
Bangalore today. Okay,
Very
so
nice.
the reason why, yeah, so yeah, so I thought like I was always better. This is what we do, right? We as humans, we always compare ourselves. Am I better than her or am I better than him? I think in this comparison, what happens is we actually fool ourselves that, oh, okay, fine. I may not be better off to 100 people, but I am better off to another 200 people. So I am in a medium range. I am a survivor. I can go and work. I think this comparison is inevitable. We, as a human, as a very Asian, we always tend to do. But what we also need to realize is what is the self interest we are going to invest in our career, correct? The first point starts with awareness. Are you aware? Because if you're not aware, you really cannot plan your career. So I always tell, whenever I talk to the students, I say, hey, listen, you guys are lucky. The kind of information which is available to you today in the internet, this is the kind of information would have been available to a president of America 25 years ago. Right?
Very true.
They have access to all the information, correct?
Yes.
So you guys, I see you guys are presidents. You have at a click of a button in Google, you can find about anybody else.
Very true.
Anybody else you can. So, but what happens is, if you also realize, comparing to the last 20 years and today, there is so much of information available, but people don't know what to do with the information. We take a Facebook, there is an interesting video. Our intention is to only watch that video. The moment that video ends, there is another video scrolls up. That is also an interesting video. But your purpose was only 4 minutes to watch that video. You come out spending 30 minutes, correct?
It's
So
very
Facebook has done
less.
their job.
You've been
Yeah.
very kind
Yeah,
to
yeah.
people. 30
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
it's more
30
than
minutes. I'm just
three
saying one
hours
video.
sometimes.
Yeah, I have done that. I have done that. So see, when I was young, when I was like a teenager, during the college days, when people used to say, "Hey, man," my father always used to say, "Don't waste your time." I'm like, this is an old man. They always talk like that. We conveniently ignore that messaging. The reason is that messaging was told to us as information. Correct. I think what is important is how that information is cascaded. That is very very important. So so my message is, first, there is a self learning available, but before you jump into any self learning, you have to be aware. And before you are aware, you there has to be a purpose. You have to decide what is that you want to do in your career. Correct. Some people desperately wants to get into a job. Let's say when I spoke to some Swiggy guys, I asked one Swiggy guy who was giving a delivery, I said, "Hey, what's your qualification?" Sir, I'm BE triple E. I was shocked. I was shocked. I'm a first
Okay.
class BE triple E, he said. I said, then why did you join Swiggy? Sir, no job, sir. So I joined here. But so I actually said, do you have 2 minutes? I wanted to talk to you. He said, of course, sir, tell me. Why did you just jump into Swiggy because Swiggy was offering you a job already? Uh, yes, sir, my friends joined, so I joined. So I could understand that the followership is always there in our blood. We always try to follow, which is fair, but are we following the right thing? Correct. My friend joined this company. He said it is excellent, so I joined.
Even I've
Somebody
come
joined this
across
course.
people
They say it is
who
excellent.
have completed computer science and they are sitting and preparing at home for banking exam.
Right.
I mean, what is the relevance? And they've said that
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
friends have joined, so I want to join. This peer pressure thing is something which is really big challenge nowadays. Very true.
Sorry. Can you get me? I just had a disconnect of 5 seconds. You
Okay,
can hear me,
I
right?
was just yes. You're completely perfect. Continue.
Okay. Okay. So I started explaining about my career. I said where I joined. Then I spent about 2 years in marketing, 2 years in call center, and I continued with the call center industry. It is not a bad industry. It is, of course, the stress levels are very high, and then I see I have always been a late learner until last 6 7 years. 2012 13 is where I really started thinking about myself, and I don't feel bad about it, because when I turn around, when I see others, people are still taken life as it comes to them. They joined some company, they probably want to retire there because they believe that is a good place. My guidance to anybody who's aspiring for a career is, my first guidance is, first, please be aware what is available to you, right? There are plenty of options available. Correct. Anybody can get job today if you have a fair communication skills, and if you are a basic tech savvy, if you can do simple things in a computer, job is always available. But what you want to make out of your career is very important, because so I'll just come back to the Swiggy guy story. He said that he joined, and I asked him what is his career ambition. He told me in Tamil, sir, அதெல்லாம் நான் திங்க் பண்ணது கிடையாது சார். ரைட் நோ வந்து எனக்கு they are paying 13,000, and if I do more deliveries I will get incentive. That's all he knows, and it is not his fault. I said, okay, fine, all right, thanks a lot for your order and your information, Sultan. And then likewise, I spoke to some of the guys who are selling credit cards. So when I see there are two types of population. One who who are well learned, guys who have done MBA, but for some unknown reasons they got into a very very labor intensive jobs. Now Swiggy is a labor very physical intensive job, right? They got into labor intensive job, but their aspiration while doing that course was something else. They wanted to work in IT. Even I had this, I always thought IT. But honestly, now I'm not an IT fan because it pays well, no doubt about it, but it also loads you well with stress. There's a huge stress there in the jobs. So that's when I decided what are the options available to me. This was in year 2010. And then I went through a lot of counseling sessions. I spoke to a lot of experienced people because I always wanted to follow this guy Prashant, who did that 10 years ago before me. And then I spoke to him also. He said, "Hey man, listen. Now you have already spent 9 years, correct? uh, you are trying to do something which you should have done after your graduation. So yeah, you would have made some money, you would have gained some experience, but what you're trying to do, my friend, you should have done that 10 years ago. But anyway, it's not too late." That's when I decided, what is this thing called logistics, right? My understanding of logistics was always about a guy who's actually driving a container truck, uh, loading the pallet boxes which has cargo in it, putting into the container. And my understanding has always been that okay, fine. Oh, logistics. I don't want to do logistics. I cannot stand in a port. It's so dusty. I want to sit in an air-conditioned place. I want to work like that. That was always my this thing. And then when I learned about logistics, now I've already spent 9 years. Any logistics industry will take me only as a fresher because I know zero about logistics now, correct? Maybe they will give me a better level and position in call center because I have 9 years experience. But fortunately, I happened to join this company called Maersk. It's one of the biggest shipping line in the world. They had this one unique role, which which requires a non-logistics background. So when that role was available, I just had only one shot of interview to impress. So I was hired by a very senior guy, and but people help me. They say, "Hey, you're going to meet so and so guy. He's a very big guy, and this role is going to report to him." So I did a preparation of 6 days preparation, understanding what is this industry, what happens in industry, what is my role, how this role would be anchored in that organization. So, considering if I were to be the interviewer interviewing myself, what are the questions? So, I prepared really, I worked really hard. And by God grace, I got that job. That was in 2010. And I worked with them for about 7 years. I learned a lot of stuff which I was not aware that was 10 years ago. So, logistics, that's one of the reasons I think the program heading is today Ocean of Opportunities. It is really ocean. Logistics is not something what I had thought that hardcore labor intensive blue collar job. It has plenty of opportunities. Uh, Imagine this was the only industry which was completely on the ground operating during the intense lockdown in many countries, because when all the industries were shut, only healthcare and logistics were the only two industries which were actually operating on a front line. And it was fabulous to see that what this industry could do. Everybody thought if you're getting a logistics job, you have to get onto a ship or you have to be on the port. There are so many opportunities. I wish we would have had the time to take you through, but I'll tell you in nutshell what it can offer to you as a career is this actually has right from documentation, finance and accounting, IT, integration, ERP, you name it. It is very vast. Now, how this can actually help somebody to get a career out of it, it's on you. It's not on the industry at all. One has to be aware as to what is this industry all about, what is that they want to make out of their career, and also learn. Every time what we do is we join one company, we wanted to spend 2 years there. Hey, they did not promote me, I am leaving this company. No, it is not the company fault. That They did not promote you. I mean, this is our mindset. What we do is, because I all don't forget that we always compare ourselves, right? We see our friend getting better salary hike, we see somebody's getting promoted, and then we compare ourselves and say, no, this is not the right company. I will quit. I will join something else. They will give me by default 15% salary hike. This is a very wrong thing to do. Uh, because what happens is your growth should be like this. Please remember, there are two axes in everybody's career. There is an X and Y. Okay, the X axis is your growth, and your Y axis is your time. So if you want to be successful, right, your X axis should be inclining, correct? Most of the people, what they do is, in an aspiration to switch jobs and to get more salaries, they keep jumping, but they flatten the curve of growth. They are in the same level, and after certain level the industry cannot offer you a better salary because you are doing the same job. Maybe you are doing it with X company or some Y company, and then you hit a dead end. But what happens is, when you hit that dead end, you have already lost 6 7 years there. Now nobody is going to offer you a better role, manager role, senior manager. Nobody is going to offer you, because you have cut your learning, you have cut your interest. Your focus has only on been the money. So my message in this whole articulation is, it's not only about salary. Focus on your growth. You need to set yourself up for an exciting career. If it's logistics or any industry for that matter, set yourself up. Always be the first learner. I always use this word first. Be the first learner, because information is available to everybody. Who is the first learner in this race? The first learners will stand the first advantage of you reaching your goals. So that's how I joined logistics, and then life moved on. I have been partnering with many associations, wanted to make people aware about this, because and also support the organizations who actually drive logistics as a career option. Uh, it has excellent exposure. Well, not only IT gives you international exposure, logistics had given me the exposure. When I used to work in call centers during that 9 years window, I never had opportunity to travel. But in logistics, I had traveled 21 countries, right? I'm really thankful to this industry, because it's not only about traveling to different countries, but it is about talking to different people, knowing their different culture. Uh, I will also try to keep this short. I will give you one example for all our viewers. I happened to meet one French lady in France that was in Le Havre. So the French has the connection. We have Pondicherry, the territory. We have this connection here already. So I asked her, like, hey, what do you like about India? So she just gave me a smile and say, hey, I will give you the answer, but don't get offended. I said, no problem. Go for it. She said, we really love Indians. They're very pleasing. The one problem with Indians is, for when they say okay, it is not okay. For everything they say okay. And it is true,
Very
right?
true.
For everything you say okay. For us, okay means everything is fine, everything is good, all right. That's what it's okay to us. So now you can imagine the kind of culture difference we have. So I think we have been like a horse, only focusing towards what we wanted to know and what is available to us. So to summarize this, right? First thing, be aware what is available to you, and also be ambitious. Be super ambitious. I have been very ambitious. I really wanted to do a lot of things, and always not wanted to be known for the money I have made, but for the work I have done. So I wanted to do a lot of work ahead, and then third, be the first learner. Be the first learner. Use self learning, what is available to you. But Purni, I would like to pause here. This is how my career has been in a summary. But if you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to take it.
Yeah, it was really an amazing, kind of roller coaster ride that we had now. It just put a switch on, and
Yeah.
like,
I just wanted
all
to speak my mind out. Yeah.
this really shows the kind of passion you have for this, for your career and this industry and everything. and a lot of learnings, lot of success learnings that we had from getting aware. You said that awareness is the key, and then self learning. Yes, who else can actually teach us better than ourselves? And the self learning, the vocab, how to improve your communication skills. Communication is the key, and how to improve it. And most importantly, a purpose tag to everything that we do. All these are simply amazing learnings for our all our viewers. And I have a question for you, like it's really, actually, when I spoke to you first time itself, this logistics is something which is really out of the air, out of the blue moon for many of
Yeah.
us. And I just want to say, you had 9 years of experience, and then in call center, and then you moved on to logistics. Now from logistics, like, you started as a fresher and then moved on, or how was your career, and how was it?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a very good question because I remember I just said, like, if you don't have the right expertise, the new industry will not welcome you on that same level. It will welcome you only from the entry level. Yes, uh, after 9 years of BPO and call center experience, I actually when I wanted to switch to logistics, I always had this mind, okay, if I join logistics now, will they take me in a low level? Because I was at a manager level with 9 years of experience. Then there was another manager level availability. My only luck was that it was actually having a non logistics background. They say this is a logistics company, MERS, but we wanted somebody with a non logistic background. We want somebody with a very great client engagement skills. I happen to have that because of my previous experiences. And then I came and I learned logistics from the scratch. Honestly, I did the whiteboarding. So at any point of day, when you come into my room, you will see one whiteboard. I love doing whiteboarding. Uh, I started drawing one container saying 20-foot container, 40-foot. Then my colleagues asked me, so what did you learn last week? Hey, I know 20-foot container, 40-foot container. Then I also explain them, it's not only about learning the size and dimensions in the logistics, it is understanding what is the purpose behind those sizes. We never question ahead. What we do is we are we become only knowledge absorbers. If there is a 3-page PDF, we just read that. We believe that this is the complete knowledge what I have acquired. But I think as an individual, we should always invest in the fact that, hey, I'm reading something, but what is the purpose behind it? So I started questioning, why is that only 20-foot container is there? Why is that 40-foot container? Why can't there be 80-foot container? I asked this in Maersk. People said, we don't know, yeah. Hey, you asking weird questions, yeah. I said, no, I'm just asking. Instead of having 40 foots, why can't there be? So many people did not know the answer. So then I went to big guys and say, guys, tell me one thing. I have a very funny question. Why there is no 80-foot container? Then one guy said, you cannot transport it on the road. The lorry will not fit in the 80-foot. The maximum size a lorry can fit in is 40-foot. But if you actually see in this whole stuff, the knowledge was there with somebody else, correct? Many of the guys could only absorb the knowledge what was available to them, but there was one gentleman who could answer my question, and he could relate the reference that it cannot be carried on the land. You cannot transport a 80-footer on a truck and take it to the port. So, and that's the purpose, right? Why you have a 40-footer. Now, my whole idea behind this example is I want all of us to reimagine ourselves, right? Not just try and understand or learn things what is available to you, understand the purpose. Every time you question a purpose, I'm telling you, you will learn the ocean of learning. There's too much of learning, whether it's logistics or anything. If you only want to do a mug up by heart, whatever is available to you in the internet, you can just read it and keep it in the mind. But if you learn the purpose, it is there in your heart. You cannot forget it. It is like this: when you when you first start to pedal a cycle in your life, you fall down 3-4 times, correct? But once you learn cycling, you just cannot fall. Even if you try to fall, you just balance yourself because it is now part of your DNA. So one of the important practice everyone should have is, when you are going for a self learning, learn. It is very good to learn, but always understand the purposes. every time you understand the purpose, I'm telling you, you are the one of the best learners than other 100 you may have around you, because others have the knowledge, but you know the purpose. There is a huge difference between this distinction, right? So that's why I always tell, whenever I train people, I say, guys, don't just mug up what I'm telling you in the classroom. I want you to now challenge me back and question me for each and everything which I'm teaching you. Why am I teaching this? Why is that I should know this? If you start questioning the purpose, I think that is one of the best thing, a fantastic thing can happen to an individual, Purni.
That is amazing. That is amazing. See, as far as my understanding is, logistics is an industry like, any other independent industry which requires HR, which requires finance, which requires ERP, which requires client support, which requires everything. And
Right.
currently, like the thing is, like, we are all blindfolded that this industry is totally not in contact with any of us, and we cannot apply jobs, or we cannot access to any but anything over this. So I have two questions to wrap up, Shan. First question is like, what is the scope for women, girls or women in this industry? And second thing is, how do people access this industry? If I want to apply into a logistics industry as a trainer or anything, how do I apply? Or if there's a finance guy, if our viewers, there are a lot of viewers who are going to be here, they have children, and if they want to guide people into getting into this industry, how do we access people? Like, if it's going to be engineer or doctor, we have hospitals, we have construction sites, we have a lot of places, mechanical companies are all available, but this is something which is not open to public. How do we access it? So these are the two questions: role for women, and how do we access?
Yeah, I think to answer the role for women, of course, this is a equal opportunity industry, right? I really cannot comment about other industries, but to give a straight answer, this industry does not have any limitations for women. Okay, and I have seen a lot of women actually working in different roles. We always put a block to our mindset saying that okay, in healthcare you can women can be employed. When it comes to services like airlines or any hospitality services, women can be employed. But when it comes to industries like logistic, what women will do, because our blue collar thinking, right, they need to be on the port, trucking and ship. So personally, I have worked with many colleagues who are women colleagues in many companies. Uh, any women can aspire to be in logistics. I'll tell you what differentiate a successful woman compared to a women who just wanted to start their career. Somebody who's just graduated out of the college, if they want to start their career with logistics, of course they can. Uh, and there is no specific guidance. Hey, since because you are a woman, don't go into sales, go into documentation. We don't have any such. I have seen uh, excellent, sales heads, basically, women who have made themselves great sellers, great managers, and then I'm a believer that women already always carries a charm. They are more patient than men. That's my reading, and I'm just trying to link this back to Stone Age thinking, right? There is always a what you call age gap, which is considered when a guy gets married to a girl, right? Most of the philosophers told me the reason behind that is women has far forth thinking. They have more power of seeing things in a very forthcoming way. They are good, what do you call, imaginers,
Predictors,
and yeah, predictors. They can predict. So
proactiveness,
that's the reason,
maturity,
just to
everything.
arrest, yeah, correct, just to arrest that
You're
gap.
talking to a woman, so a
They
lot of qualities will come
correct.
to you.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things, right? So
Okay.
there is no restrictions. It is a great industry. People, I would encourage to aspire a career in logistics. And the other, that was your first question. Can you just remind me of the second question?
Second question: how do we get access to join there?
Yeah. See,
No search or apply
there
or.
are, sure. See, there are self learnings which are available. There are good institutes available, but I think while these educational institutions are available to everybody, I really want to suggest that everyone should take self interest. It completely depends. Learning is up to you. uh, I always tell this to everybody: learning is completely up to you. Even if I give you a core i7 Mac laptop with best in class infrastructure, does not mean you will learn fast. It is the technology has zero relevance to learning. It has zero relevance. Your invest, how much do you invest in yourself in terms of self learning? So I would say there is a lot of programs available. uh, for somebody to be successful, I would encourage them to be part of those programs. And because what happens is, if you join as a fresher in any logistics, you will spend at least 3 to 6 months time to understand what the hell is this actually, right? But when you do a program, you have a better advantage of getting yourself up to speed and running in the job, and maybe going on to become a very fair performer in the early stages itself. And the kind of career growth and opportunities this industry offer, it does not have a stopgap like you spend 3 years, you go to next level. No, there are some very very great companies which uh, provide equal opportunities to women. They never consider gender as a barrier. They always believe in diversity, and so they can start. But my guidance will be: take a good program which can become a career bridge for you, which can assure you some sort of an employment in a very good company or in any logistics company which has a fair branding. And settle down there, learn there, and then observe around what is available. Okay, I started as a documentation specialist or maybe an executive entry level. What's available for me? Okay, I can become a documentation manager, or I can become an ocean air export operations. There's a lot of there are immense opportunities. And the large scale enterprises, they have various departments: ITES, and they have support services, correct? It is no more a luxury that if I'm working for Infosys, it does not mean that I'm a top core, qualified IT guy. I could also be part of their BPO. I could also be part of their administration. I could also be part of some niche skill, let's say Chronos, or let's say DevOps, latest technology, whatever it is. So don't get completely drifted away by saying that, okay, is logistics equivalent to IT? Never do that. I'll tell you, opportunity is what you make, whether it's IT, insurance, healthcare, hospitality, any services. How you grow, that matters.
Very true.
So
No,
always,
the same.
yeah,
I've seen a pani puri stall, okay, in my street, and the same person serving the same pani puri in a five-star hotel also. Okay,
correct,
it is all about the opportunities. So
correct,
that is very
correct.
true.
I see a lot of motivational videos in Facebook. I really like them. And the one thing which I observe is, what, number one, as I said, purpose. What is the purpose of these videos? The purpose is they're trying to drive one messaging in the internet. And all these videos drives one message, saying that the guy who has been successful, there is a Bill Gates newspaper story, okay, there is an Ambani story. And when I see Simon Sinek videos, like he talks about entrepreneurs, how they build themselves from the scratch. But what we see is the punchlines, what they show. But if you actually notice one thing, these successful people, they have invested so much in themselves, correct? And they have vested their time, they have gone deep into one subject matter, and that's why they are different.
Very true.
That's why they have now the power of imagining things far beyond a normal individual can do. And that's the reason I always say that understand the purpose. If you don't know the purpose, it is very challenging. Yeah, so I would encourage all the women, don't have a second thoughts that logistics is not an industry for you. It is a great industry. There is no limitation at any level or at any stage of your career in that. I know personally few ladies in Mumbai who are at the stage of retiring. I have had spoken to them. They started logistics, I don't know, some 40 years ago, something like that, and they used to do everything in the piece of paper and all that. So there is no limitations for me, honestly.
Amazing, amazing. Shan, this is a really an eye opener. I just want to wrap up with this final question. If you
Yeah,
need to enlighten our viewers about the course or the link where they can share, we can just put it in the description box. Probably you can
yeah,
just share with me, after the session,
yeah,
it can be
sure.
even your email ID or how they can really reach out to this
Yes.
industry. So that is what is the piece of information we want to leave in the description box. And I hope
Yeah,
that it's been a lot of learning for me personally, and I hope that all the viewers also had a real amazing learning experience. So there is it is not about the salary but the growth that you are having. Have a purpose for everybody, everything. Communication is key. Be the first leader, and all these things. And you gave a series of ways of how to prepare for interviews and how you really crack the logistics interviews. Lot of learnings for our viewers. Thank you
yes,
so much for your time and this complete piece of treasure that you have shared with us. And definitely I hope that a lot of people will now start thinking in this broad minded way of moving into different other industries also available as part of their career. And definitely as part whoever is coming and contacting me on this also, I will be sharing with you, and they can also
sure.
have a talk with you or get a guidance from you. So with this we come to the end of today's session on sharing success stories with Dr. Purni. And thank you so much again, my dear viewers, for your amazing participation. And I hope this session is going to give lots of opportunities for you and people around you to get yourself broadened into the sphericals of logistics. And so, meet you soon in another interesting sharing success stories very soon. And this is by till then, it is Dr. Purni signing off from you. Stay tuned with us and wishing you happiness and success. Thank you.
Thank you, Purneet.